Greetings, everyone. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Welcome to the World Media Coalition Jazz Lovers Television Network production of I Found My Voice. This is a weekly production every Thursday afternoon at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we like to welcome everybody. I know taking time out of your day to come be with us, and we definitely appreciate it. Now, worldwide audience and guest speakers. So we're happy to see everybody. I hope everybody's doing well. Van Miller, I see you there. How you doing? You're on mute, but I can tell you smiling, so it's good.
I said, I'm doing great. And how are you doing today? I'm
doing good. Now, if I look crazy.
Yeah, I was wondering what was up with the shirt. I said, oh, he must be working out real good.
Yeah, it's my copyrighted shirt. I was teaching today. We had 2 new students. And then I had somebody interview me just after, so it's.
I said, oh, well, he's really working out. So now he's like, okay, y'all, look at my muscles.
yeah, got it. I ain't had time to change my clothes.
Well, we welcome everybody to another Thursday of the Van Miller Talk Show. I found my voice, a place where everybody has a freedom to have a voice. We are an unscripted show where everybody is a guest. And we just ask that you all come in, join with us, join in the discussions, have a great time. And we hope that you gather or get something that you can take away from this space that you can use in your everyday life. Martha Kuvu, how are you doing today?
Hey, listen, the sun is shining, air is clear.
Yes.
It's a little overcast, but I'm here.
Yes, that's all right. That's all right. So I saw that the piece with Lou Gossett this week was amazing.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was amazing.
As a matter of fact, we had the privilege of having Dr. Qarlah Prince in the room.
Oh, wow. Okay, welcome, Dr. Prince.
She was at Lou Gossett's house with us.
Mm-hmm.
And Frickson was on, you were on, Joy Allen was on,
mm-hmm.
and she syndicated it. She told me she had over 100 people locked in on this thing. So it was
yes. Yeah, we were trying to figure out today because she wasn't going to be able to do it. And last night we worked on me being the host for her today, and we were still doing it right before we came on, and it was squealing. So we've got to get that piece figured out.
Yeah, I got to do some figuring out myself with the Zoom so we can continue moving forward. But I'm learning.
I am. I learned a little bit about StreamYard, so I didn't know about that. And so I'm like, okay, all right. So, I was able to get to that space and get it all the way to this Zoom space, but it was squealing. So we just said, we will figure, it was really squealing. So we'll figure it all out and everything. I even had a couple questions from Tuesday. I noticed that some of the people from Africa did ask some of the questions that were pertinent in my mind. I guess my thing was, and maybe this is a space because we're in the space. I guess my thought was, we have this, and we've had this for a number of years, and now we bring it to people of color that have status to help to push it out. And even though it benefits us, why are we the platform that's being used to do it and move it forward? I didn't want to, be, ask that question in that space, because I was just like, so why are we're using Lou because he's an older gentleman, Black gentleman, somebody that has status, and Bobby to help to promote and push something. Is this, why is it that we can't choose people of other colors to, use it to promote it?
Well,
maybe I missed it.
I was brought in by Ed Miller.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And I met Ed Miller at Lou Gossett's house several months ago. It was the week after, the first week in August.
Mm.
I met Ed Miller at Lou Gossett's house.
At the New Year, right after the New Year.
Right.
Mhm.
And actually, yeah, right after the Wet with Pet.
Mhm.
And there was an event that Bobby Hunter invited me to, honoring Dr. Qarlah Prince.
Mhm.
And the day after that event was the meeting at Lou Goss's house.
Mhm.
And when I went to the event with Dr. Qarlah Prince, where she was being recognized and honored, I ran into Bob Johnson. And Bob Johnson is the promoter and founder of the Atlanta Juneteenth celebration.
Okay.
Okay. I had the honor of leading the first Atlanta Juneteenth parade. So Bob Johnson says to me, most of the time when we are together, that Makakuva, you and I started this thing. The meeting at Bob at Lou Goss's house was a brainstorming of about 20 people in the room talking about the national Juneteenth celebration and the declaration of the Biden administration's Juneteenth holiday. And during that meeting, a lot was discussed, including the flotilla, as well as the collaboration and the unification of Mary McLeod Bethune legacy, because Ed Miller's wife is a direct descendant of Mary McLeod Bethune, and she is also the mayor of Maysville, South Carolina. So all of that rolling forward, Bobby Hunter has a project dealing with a throat lozenge that helps to detox drug addicts off of flakka, fentanyl, and other drugs. And that throat lozenge is part of an effort to deal with the health disparities in underserved communities. Okay? So now all of that is in the pudding.
Oh, okay.
Okay? So now Ed Miller is tied directly to Congressman James Clyburn. And James Clyburn is the House Majority Whip in the United States Congress, House of Representatives. Ed Miller comes out of South Carolina. He's, as I said, he's directly tied to James Clyburn. When I say directly tied, I mean being able to call him on the telephone and say, hey, James, this is Ed. What's happening? So all of that is tied to Ed Miller and MedPart with Jack Taywell. So now what this does for us, because if you notice, when we did the meeting on Tuesday, you did not see MSNBC, you did not see CNN, you did not see ABC, CBS. You saw the World Media Coalition, Egypt 3 Productions, and Black on Purpose Television at the forefront. So now what's coming out of that meeting is a press conference. We had a representative of a senator from here in Georgia in the room. And right now they're looking at structuring the Lou Gossett Health Initiative for health disparities in underserved communities. And notice I'm not saying communities of color, because there are underserved European and European American communities. So the underserved population is being given the opportunity, one, to benefit from this, two, to benefit from the economic development initiative in this, and three, to be able to benefit financially, individually from this initiative. So I hope that answers your question.
It did, because I was like, okay, we're in the middle of this, and you know, sometimes it's not, every space is not a good space to ask questions, because sometimes people, you know, will sort of get thrown off, and you know, sometimes I found best sometimes to not have a voice sometimes as well. so yeah.
Well, you know, listening is the greater part of speaking. People get confused, think that just because they have a mouth, they got something to say. No, you don't.
Yeah.
That mouth can be chewing on foot leather from your shoe.
That is so true. That is so true. That's because I was like, okay, I don't ask this question in this space. I can ask this question over here in this space, because, you know, we have a lot going on in the world today. I mean, and we have to take the initiative to do some things for ourselves. And so, you know, in hearing that, then I have a better understanding of what was going on there. I did see how it was able to be of a great health benefit to people everywhere, because there are people that cannot get out and go into doctor's offices, and there are some doctor's offices that are still not even allowing people to come in. So I do see a need for that, and so we wish that initiative the best. We have Dr. Prince with us today. Dr. Prince, how are you doing?
Hi there, I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing great. So tell our audience a little bit about yourself and what it is that you're doing, and how can we help you?
Well, I am right now so engulfed in the transition of reacclimating inmates back to society. And these are our new citizens. We don't want to refer to them as the incarcerated one, or, you know, as, you know, an inmate, but our new citizens back to society, back to home, to their homes, and equipping them with work as well as counseling, educating them on what has changed, you know, things of that nature, but giving them the tools that they need to succeed is basically where we are right now. We are helping in any way that we can, sponsorship programs, investments, anything that would help the next person. And that was a great question that you asked, because we don't want everything to be so pro-Black that we can't, you know, glean or from anyone else. We don't want to do that and really, I'm going to say, box ourselves in. They've boxed us in, and we don't want to do that to ourselves. So that was a great question to ask about being one, instead of now, you know, we're separating ourselves for whatever the reason is. So I can appreciate that, because even when we do intake, we can't say only American Africans. We can't do that. We have to take, you know, per our program, who qualifies. Do you know what I mean? And so it's just about unity right now, you know, and that's where we are. I have with me today the other guest on the show, which is my godson, that I am so very proud of. And I'm going to have him tell his own testimony, but he is a survivor and a walking miracle. Just recently diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, just out of the blue, and went through the absolute worst of times. And he can go into detail about that. And then it's that climax, it's that end that will blow your mind. But I'm not going to steal that. I'm going to let him share it, because I am I'm always humble, and I always like to think of someone else, and especially, to treat people the way you want to be treated. So I always like to have that in my mind and in my heart. When you experience things firsthand, it's just totally different. You get your own experience, maybe with something that you can relate to, and maybe you can't, but now this is brand new, but it's so real from a real person that, it's life-changing is what it is. And it causes you to walk a little slower, think a little more sensible and reasonable, and look at other people a little bit differently. And that's what our program is about also, and we are very serious about it, very committed, and just trusting God the entire way, and not make our own way, but trusting and following those individuals been incarcerated who has, came through, because that's the active word. They came through. They didn't remain. They didn't give up. They quit. And only they can tell their story, because they know the struggle and they know what it felt like. They know the temperature of that heat. We can only guess and imagine, but they know what it felt like. And then to be on this other side in any capacity from going through a journey, it's, that's our reward. It truly is. And it's greater than dollars and cents.
And we have to always ask, what is the lesson? I tell people that all the time, oh, this happened to me, but what was the lesson? There's a lesson in everything that we go through. And if we truly look at the situation and think about it, there was something in there that we should have gotten out of it.
Absolutely. And it definitely will be beneficial. That's for sure.
You'll know, I'll never go back in that space again. I have a question, because I have a friend that's incarcerated, and he's been there for like 26, 27 years. Just a, hypothetical, how hard would it be for somebody that has missed so many things in life to come out today and reacclimate themselves back into society?
Well, it is difficult if you're trying to do it on your own. And this is where I say we need people, and we need people of every color, every nationality in their right space. Do you know what I mean? So, and this is what we're doing, is we're bringing in these professionals, and it's a personal, private, counseling situation where we help that everyone is not the same. And they have a different experience and a different opinion. They had a different mindset going through. As I mentioned the last time I was on the show, I used to tell my sons, you're not in prison. And so now you're dealing with a different mindset. Even though you were confined, your mind was engulfed in books and other things, but everyone didn't get that same, conversation. They didn't get that same. So we deal with people one at a time. We interview. We find out where they are. They need a pad and pen, and write down your aspirations. Write down what you think you missed. Write down where you are mentally, because we're not mind readers. And even the most qualified counselor, you cannot think that you have all the answers. You just can't. So we need feedback. We need to respect these young men and listen to them. Then we can better help them. But it is a personal journey, and it's a personal act of recovery.
Wow. Yeah, I always say, because I get to talk to him every now and then, and I always tell him, prison is a state of mind. We can be free, and we're walking around out here, and some of us are in an invisible barred prison every day, and we don't even understand it and don't know where we're going. So it's truly a state of mind.
Yes.
Yeah.
I saw my godson just chimed in. Can you all see him?
Yeah, I can see him. I can see him there. I can't wait to hear his story. Cannot wait.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. Thanks for
Yes.
having me, everybody. I appreciate it.
Yeah, so tell the audience a little bit about yourself, who you are, and you know your amazing miracle and everything that has happened to you. I can't wait to hear that.
Wait a minute. Who's the voice on I Found My Voice that just came in?
Dr. Bob, Miss Barbara came in. Hi, Miss Barbara.
I heard that deep voice and it woke me up. I was about to fall asleep.
Good morning. Good morning.
How
My
you
name is
doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for asking, sir. My name is Stajchuan Kellly. Just first and foremost, want to start off by thanking the Lord. I'm extremely grateful for another opportunity. He's been faithful throughout my life. As my godmother had, she told you guys, I currently have been diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. I had cancer since March of 2020. Being a young Black man, let's just say having a poverty mindset, not want to go to the doctor, not want to go get checked out, something that's just not drastic. I allowed the cancer to fester in my body for a little over a year before properly being diagnosed and being treated, which allowed it to get to stage 4. But by the grace of God, the Lord is still in control, and he definitely has allowed me to be cured. Definitely a trying process in my life. Something I hadn't experienced, and I've experienced quite a bit of difficulty in my life. But I'm here to say that I'm definitely blessed, feeling better. Every day is still a challenge, but I'm definitely still fighting. Definitely grateful for all the prayer and support that I've gotten from people. Most importantly, just indebted to the Lord. I just can't emphasize that enough. Just for God just showing up and continuously inspiring me, and whoever may need to be inspired or need to be reassured that the living God is true. He's living, and he does still work miracles in the midnight hour, when we least expect it, even when we're what's the word I'm looking for? Jesus, I'm drawing a complete blank.
That's okay.
I apologize, guys.
That's okay. It's when we don't care about ourselves, he's let me go take care of that crazy person.
There you go. And that's absolutely it. I'm just here as a testimony to him. I'm not worthy. I'll just be honest and say that, I'm not worthy, but yet his mercy and his grace continue to reign. I'm at work, been having trouble working back and forth because of my condition. By the grace of God, I'm back working now. I had just recently started me a company right before I got sick. One of my fears was that I wouldn't be able to maintain my company, and that it would go underneath because the doctor was telling me that I wouldn't be able to work for 6 months. Through this process, I haven't worked every day, but I definitely haven't been off work for 6 months. I'm still going through my chemo process, still getting up, smiling. Some days are better than others, but yet still able to maintain and keep food on the table and keep the lights on. And I just can't say how grateful I am and how thankful I am to his amazing grace. I just can't say it. I've overcome a lot. I know there's still a lot more for me to overcome. I know that my story of my life is definitely a testimony for him, and never know who needs to hear it. Just a little bit about myself. I'm 37 years old. At 9 years old, I lost my father. I had to overcome that. At 14, I lost my baby sister. After I graduated from high school, I played sports all my life. I necessarily didn't necessarily have the outstanding statistics, but yet God humbled me. He sent me to junior college. I got a scholarship. How? Nothing but the grace of God. But I got a scholarship to go play ball. After I got done playing ball, didn't know what to do with myself. I was kind of in the streets a little bit, doing things that I know weren't always pleasing to the Lord and to my family. Yet God found a way to spare me, to get me out, to get me to start my own business, assets to go along with my business, and then to go through cancer. Having my other sister, I have two sisters. One passed away that I was just mentioning. Another one, she went through cancer in 2021, the same cancer. She overcame it. And then here it goes, my time to overcome it. So again, I'm just extremely grateful for all of the light that God has shed on my life. Although I don't consider myself worthy, he still deems me worthy and still loving on me. I just would like to inspire anybody that no matter what your situation is, whether it's the health, whether it's traumatic experience, a tragic event, keep your head up, keep grinding, keep believing, keep the faith, and everything will work itself out, regardless if it's what we consider to be in our favor or not. Just know that God is always in control and it'll always work out for the greater good, regardless if you could see the end results at the current moment. And that's my story. Again, just grateful and thankful.
True, a beautiful testimony. True, beautiful testimony. That definitely needs to be heard. And know that he died that you might be worthy. So don't say
Yes,
that you're
ma'am.
not worthy.
Yes, ma'am.
He made you worthy. So words have power.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Definitely
Yes.
excited about that in his testimony, because a lot of young people are going through that and work, and they need other young people to really testify and share that, yes, I really did go through this. Yes, I really did feel the pain. Yes, I was scared, but God, and they need to hear that. And it doesn't necessarily just have to be with the sickness or anything. It could be with your finances. It could be with a relationship from home or outside. It could be work-wise, but they need to know that what we're saying is not some old school, oh, just have faith, baby. No,
Absolutely.
and it really works. God is real. And if we would trust him, which is what I tell people, I don't care what it looks like, he will show up and show out if you get out the way. Stop thinking, fix it. Stop going to somebody that has less abilities than you do, asking them, help me. They can't help you.
That's true.
Absolutely.
So, he is, my inspiration. Just hearing the stories of how difficult it was in the beginning, and how, he's gasping for air, how he don't know if he's going to be here or not. But God, that ray of hope, he's sitting here right now and at work.
Yes.
No excuses.
What is your business? What is your business again?
Route 9 Logistics. I own a trucking company. And I had just purchased a truck here in March for my birthday. So I was extremely ecstatic, and then kind of heartbroken to get the diagnosis here in June, just because just trying to build capital and stuff like that, in my finances and things like that. But again, I had to just remove myself and just learn to trust fully, learn to trust God in so many different aspects, just based upon my trials and tribulations. And I guess for me, I'm a person that's always overcome adversity. So it's never been about adversity. I guess it's just different adversity. And so this was something different for me. I've done with a lot of tragedy, but my health was definitely something that was definitely different for me. I've always been healthy and never broke a bone, playing a physical sport. And for this to hit me, it just hit me like a ton of bricks. And I had to just rely on everything that I had been taught and had been instilled in me as a young man. My family always having me in church, and as my godmom just mentioned, just trusting the process of the Lord. Although it's not something that I could explain, it was just something that I just knew I had to believe, right? And I had to get away from the naysayers, and I had to get away from everybody that had the negative mentality. And sometimes I just had to hunker down and be by myself, and I had to just give it to God. And I had to just be honest with God about where I was and about how I felt. And when I was struggling, and, hey, God, I'm just struggling today. God, I'm struggling to get out of bed, or I'm just struggling to believe that I can get through this process, Lord. And I just need you to constantly keep restoring my faith and knowing that whatever the outcome is your outcome, and to be okay with that. And that's a very challenging thing, especially being a younger person, us still growing and still trying to gain our wisdom through life experiences. It's easy to turn back to the world and just say, woe is me. But I wasn't necessarily designed that way. And God has made my life full of trials and tribulations because he knew that I would be able to overcome them. Not only overcome them, but hopefully inspire other people to know that, look, I'm a young man, I come from the ghetto, I didn't have a lot, I was raised by a single mother, my father was murdered, I'm out of Compton. Everything the statistics say that I should be, I am, but I ain't. I've never been to jail before. I have my own business. I'm college educated. I mean, just a lot of things that were designed to be against me, God has made for me, even with such traumatic experiences in my life. You know, I hear a lot of young men, oh, well, you know, I didn't have my father, you know, my mom was on drugs, or I come from foster home, or we never had a great financial backing. And all of those things for a good portion apply to my life. I can reach out and understand a lot of young men because of things that I've been through, gangs and drugs and violence and, you know, just different things in life that life gives us that usually allows a lot of people to wilt underneath the pressure, where God has given me the ability to stand underneath the pressure and let people know that, look here, we got to just stand in here, pull ourselves up by our bootstraps, keep the faith, keep the mindset, and we can overcome anything, right?
Yes.
Cancer, AIDS, jail, drugs, whatever, financial, relationship, whatever it may be. But we first have to know and trust and believe and give ourselves to God. That does not mean we're going to be perfect. That definitely does not mean that. But at the same token, just knowing that when we make a mistake, to first and foremost, I always like to say, let me get back in tune with God when I know I'm out of line, or when I know things aren't, I'm not necessarily performing at a rate that I know that will be pleasing or fulfilling to the Lord, if that makes sense.
It does.
So let me get back grounded in with him.
So truly a
Go ahead.
testimony, truly a testimony. Now, with your trucking business, how can we help you get more business? Where are you located?
I'm located down in Los Angeles. I usually do a lot of work out of the ports of LA and Long Beach. So I'll pull stuff out of the vessels. And then I just deliver to containers locally to business in the area that usually don't have people that certified to cross customs. So usually anybody that's brokers that need carriers inside the greater Los Angeles area, that's usually the type of people that I try to get in with, get their containers to them and get them back to their yard so they can get their merchandise and get them out to their customers.
Yeah, I heard that there were like ships of containers out there, and they're sort of worrying about what the end of the year and the holiday is going to look like, and the lot of the stores, you know, when we go into the stores and the shelves are bare because most of that product is still out sitting in the ships out in the water, and with nobody to get it out, to get it where it needs to be, because some of the bigger stores are beginning to hire their own trucks to go down and get their product.
Correct, ma'am. The pandemic really had a big effect on everything that was going on. They cut down a lot of the harbor workers. So they weren't getting freight in at a rapid rate. And then also a lot of freight was kind of put on pause that wasn't necessarily deemed essential because of the virus, when they didn't have a full understanding of what was going on and where was it coming from and how are we contracting it. So because of that, there has been a big backup. So now there's this big rush now to try to get everything out and to get everything to everybody, but obviously
it's not going to happen.
Not at a timely rate.
It's
Not at a
not-
timely rate.
it's
No,
not
ma'am.
gonna happen.
Well, no.
Well,
Shalom.
we're glad that you're here. Miss Barbara, you,
Yes.
yes.
Shalom, everyone.
Good morning.
And I just wanted to say something while this young man, before he gets off the phone. I have a dear friend who told me a few days ago that his favorite nephew, 50 years old, 5 children, sent them all to college, has end-stage cancer, and he has lung cancer. So I immediately went to work to try to find a place where he could be cured, and I did find a place. It was out in Arizona, and my friend, he had to leave Atlanta and go to Pensacola, where he was in the hospital. It turns out this person, he's a young man, I think 50 is young. He had this diagnosis for about 4 months or more, but he kind of kept it to himself, and he didn't want to disturb his family. You know, he wanted to deal with it on his own. And I can understand that. But oh my God, if he just reached out more, even though the doctors did everything to get the correct diagnosis, he just didn't want to let anybody know.
Mm.
And I think I heard you in your early testimony that you were in a similar mindset where you just kind of became a mental cocoon in your illness. But he went to the hospital yesterday, and it turns out he was in end stage. And when he got to the hospital, he was brain dead. But all the family members gathered around as the breath that the mother father gave him in life was returned. So they were at his bedside. And I'm thinking to myself, my goodness, here I'm listening to you, oh my goodness, with the same ailment, lung cancer, and you're alive. And while this person, 50-year-old man, loving father, loving husband, is alive in another shape and form, and I can't help but feel there's a connectivity in this somewhere. In our African mentality, as I was reading in the Meduneta around Nepharamin, we always knew there's a continuity in the earth, in vibrations, no matter what. Right. It was never separated. There is some sort of continuity. I cannot explain it. But when I'm listening to you, I feel a connection between you and your situation and this young man who has ascended to his father, mother, father. And your story needs to be heard. I don't know how, for the young men in your neighborhood as an inspiration.
Yeah.
I don't have words to say, listening to you, how you continue to struggle. And you said you have to stay connected with mother, father. And that's how I recognize God as mother, father, because there's nothing created without the feminine energy. And mother, father of creation, you got to be in alignment. That's what it's about. You have to be in alignment with the will of the Almighty for your life. And that's what I pray for. Let me do your will, because we are here not for ourselves, but that your will be done for the glory and majesty of who you are as the creator of everything that's been created, everything that is righteous And this world is not the world of mother, father. Scripture says, it says, man's world is not my world. But I live in the shadow of the Almighty. And I can testify to that because my life has been saved, physically saved 3 or more times. 3 or more times. Once when I fell asleep at the wheel on the Georgia Turnpike. But I won't go into that, but my life was saved. And at that time, I was thinking, oh, it's lucky. I was lucky the car ran off the road and hit the bumps and woke me up because I was headed right for a tree. And at that time, I didn't know God, the Almighty. I knew of the Almighty, but I didn't have that personal relationship. And now that I do, I can rest in the bosom of the Almighty because every morning I say, what am I supposed to do? I'm in alignment. And I know that. And you know when you're in alignment and when you're not. And you're so correct. So thank you for your testimony. As I said, there's a connectivity between what you have gone through and what I have witnessed from my friend. He's told me about the family is still grieving, but there is a connectivity there. And I just had to bring that out. May the Almighty continue to be with you and you with the Almighty.
Beautiful.
Thank you, ma'am. What I will say to that is, I have to be honest, I definitely didn't want everybody to know at first.
Yes, that's what he did.
Yeah, the reason for that was I'm the type of person that I don't really like people to feel sorry for me.
Yeah.
So I just didn't want everybody to feel sorry for me, right?
Yes.
Not saying that that's the appropriate approach, but that was my approach. That was my thinking. That's my athletic background for me. I've never wanted people to feel sorry for me. I've never wanted to be a charity case. Never wanted to be a burden to anyone. But I had a close friend of mine that had a grandmother that had went through cancer, and she was telling me as I was going through this, she was like, you have to open up and allow people to help you. She was like, this is a family or community thing. And she was like, you're not in this alone. And I had to really take heed to her words because that wasn't her speaking. Yeah. That was the word that God had gave her to give to me specifically.
Yes.
Right. And so I had to become open to that. And in the process of me becoming open to that, what I found was I was less discouraged by those that weren't there or those that didn't help the way that I felt, and more appreciative of those that God had put into my life, to speak life to me, to be there for me, to help me, to assist me.
Yes.
Every day was different. I had to get comfortable with where I was to get free to express like, hey, this is what's going on. And I don't want anybody to feel sorry for me because I trust and believe in God that this is going to change. Yes, I'm a certain way. I don't physically resemble myself. Sometimes I look in the mirror outside of my physical appearance. I don't recognize myself based upon certain things about myself, certain qualifications that I know that I'm usually strong about, but that I know that have been diminished because of the cancer and the chemo. So I understand where the young man is coming from, but at the same token, we have to be open to what God has for us because we never know in what shape, form, or fashion it's going to come. Right. Whether it be a cure, whether it be a word, whether it be a helping hand or support from other people. And I had to get there. It took a lot of prayer, and I'm a very personal person, and I don't really like people to know my business. So it was really like a big deal for me to kind of keep things to myself. But at the same token, I noted that I needed help. And I had to allow myself to allow God to help me. Right?
Hallelujah.
And that didn't mean in the way that I seen fit. That was the way that he saw fit.
Right.
And so that allowed me to get free in this whole process. This wasn't the condition that I wished for myself. I never wished this on anyone. And I'd be a lie to tell you that I never woke up like, well, God, why did I have to go through this? And then just hearing my pastor constantly speak and just trying to still go through church and things like that. And just trying to stay connected and reading my word. I was in specifically for me, reading Job and stuff like that. I had to just reconnect and believe in God that everything is going to work itself out. As far as me being healthy. As far as one of my biggest fears is I have a daughter, and I lost my dad at 9. My sister was 6, and I was like, oh, here we go with the generational curse. I'm not gonna be here to see my little daughter grow up now. There's the same thing that I went through. And God said, no. That's your story, but that's not how your story ends. And I had to understand that. And I had to sit back and I had to get out of myself to receive that.
Yes.
It was definitely trying.
Yes.
I wouldn't be a lie if I tell you it wasn't. It was definitely trying. There's definitely moments that I had to have God help me to restore my belief thoroughly.
Hallelujah. Yes.
Because it's hard when it's you.
Mm-hmm.
It's easier when you're telling somebody else, but when you're going through and or when you have a child that's going through, or a significant other, it kind of gets difficult to still keep the faith sometimes. But you still got to keep the faith, if that makes sense. And being a younger person, we have so many distractions. We have so many things pulling us in so many different ways. The world, the opposite sex, regardless of which sex you are, the opposite sex, and just what the world thinks that we're supposed to be in, us trying to live up to the standard of the world. And I had to get out of that mentality. And I had to get back to the mentality of, God, this is all for you. Whether you call me home or whether you call me to walk through this thing and be a testimony for somebody.
There you go. That's it.
And
for his greater glory.
There you go. And so I had to become okay with that. That didn't happen overnight. But because I already had a relationship with God, I was able to tune in and connect with the Lord. And I was able to sit back and to hear his voice. The doctors, they had their diagnosis. And when they first started telling me, I had, let's say, my blood count was at a 5. Wow. For my age, size, and weight, my blood count was supposed to be at a 14. They admit people into the hospital at a 7. So I was just going to the doctor because I couldn't carry my 3-year-old daughter, bringing water into the house. I'd just be extremely fatigued. I just had things going on that just weren't making sense. I was having back problems and hip problems. I'm like, well, what happened? Like, nothing catastrophic has happened. And so at one point I just said, you know what? I'm gonna go to urgent care and just find out what's going on. So I went in and they ran a battery test on me because they just like, Mr. Kelley, we just don't know. You're all over the board with what's going on with you. So I left after I had been tested. They ran some blood work, and I pulled across the street to the doctor's office and just got me a bite to eat. I got a bit tired and a bit fatigued, and I was literally in the restaurant. I just got in eating, and I was sleeping in the parking lot. And within 40 minutes of being there, my doctor called me back immediately. Hey, Mr. Kelley, where are you at? I'm not too far from the hospital. What's going on? We need you to come back to the hospital immediately. And I was like, well, I immediately got alarmed. And I was like, well, I was just there, 25 minutes ago. It's like, your blood count is really low. You need to send a doctor or send a driver, to come get you. And I was like, I'm still alarmed because I'm like, I just drove to you guys and was there on my own. Like, what's happening? Where you guys, it kind of sounded to me like they're kind of like in a frantic panic. And it kind of caused me to become a little bit more anxious. And I'm like, well, what's happening? And so when I got back, I had a young lady explaining to me, you know, at this rate, this is what happens. And we don't understand how you're still moving around with your blood count out of 5. And we admit people for a 7. And you're supposed to be at a 14. And I'm like, I don't know. It's God. That's all I can really tell you guys, because I can't tell you. And my little sister was telling me, she was like, when she was going through this process, she was like, bro, I just passed out on the bus. I just passed out. And she was like, my blood count was at a 6.5. And I'm like, that's why these people are panicking. They're like, sir, people pass out on an 8 and at a 7. And so for you to be at a 5, and you're talking about you're driving yourself to and fro the hospital and back and forth to work, like, this is not common, sir. And I'm like, oh, it's not? And they're like, no, it's not. And it was just crazy to me, because I was still getting up and going to work every day. And I just felt like I was just really fatigued, right? And so I couldn't really grasp the concept of how my body wasn't where it needed to be or where it was supposed to be, according to the doctors. But yet, the blood, the blood was keeping me. And I was immediately admitted into the hospital. Thereafter, I stayed there for 4 days. I had 4 blood transfusions in the process, just to get my blood back to like a 9. And in the process of my blood getting to like an 8.5, 9, I was in the hospital pushing my IV around, running laps. And it was like, Mr. Kelley, what's going on? I was like, this is me. What do you mean what's going on? This is me. And when it had started to give me the blood transplants, I started to get more strength and I started to turn back into myself. But they seen me come in as somebody that was barely walking and lightheaded and kind of in and out a little bit and swaying from side to side and not having much strength and energy. And I wasn't even where I needed to be. And yet I'm running laps around the hospital and I'm praying. And they're like, Mr. Kelley. And I'm like, you guys don't understand. I'm healthy. I work out. I run. I'm active. I've been active my whole life. So this is me just now getting back to normalcy. And you guys are thinking like you're exceeding leaps and bounds. And I'm just like, I'm just doing what God told me to do. And I don't
You
know who needs to
are
see
a
me running
miracle.
around. I don't know who needs to see me running around in this hospital. But they need to know that we all going home. Not just me, everybody on this floor. We all gonna go home. And if I gotta be the example running through here,
Yes.
in a doctor's outfit with an IV and jogging around this thing, and it kind of look like I'm half crazy. I'm not half crazy. I'm in my right mind. I never lost none of my sense now. Now my body may not be functioning at full capacity, but mentally, I was still there, right?
Yes.
I was still there mentally. I was still very in tune mentally. And mentally, I get up and work out. So the fact that I can get up and work out or try to do something active, I felt compelled.
Yes.
And so I did. And I didn't know where else to do it. But you know what? I was like, well, God, dog it. I'm going to jog around this hospital with my little hospital socks on and my hospital gown and with my IV, because this is all I know. And this is all, this is me. This is what I would typically be doing had this not been the situation. So I'm just continuously doing what is my normal routine. And in the process, hopefully somebody else is inspired. Let's not lay in this bed, because I was tired of laying in the bed. And I don't know if anybody's ever felt like that, but I was tired of laying in the bed. I'd never laid in the bed. I've laid in the bed so much this past year, 2021, that I'm tired of laying in the bed.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to be conformed to a bed. And I refused to accept that I was going to be bedridden.
Excuse me, Doc.
Even when the doctor was coming in after my transplants and I was starting to feel better, and they were like, "Hey, Mr. Kelley, we think you got cancer." I said, "No, I don't." They said, "Well, we want to run some additional tests." I'm fine with you running tests, but I don't got cancer. That just doesn't sit with me. And it was hard for me to accept that diagnosis. And my doctor kept telling me, "We're almost for certain that you got cancer." I said, "Well, what proof do you have?" "Well, that's why we want you to take some other tests." "Yes, sir."
My brother. I'd like to
"Yes, sir."
you know that you're talking to a worldwide audience. You have people here
Okay.
from Europe. You have a gentleman here from
Okay.
that lives in Russia right now. I'd like to hear from them what they think about your story. Sidhant Tawari. Can you hear me? Oh, unmute yourself.
I just want to say he's a walking miracle now with a voice to inspire.
Barbara, hang on, please. Hang on. I want to get from them and Frickson and the Lugansk Republic, People's Republic that is part of the Ukraine. I want to hear from them what they think about Kelly's testimony. Because it's not just a testimony of a miraculous healing, it's a testimony that's an inspiration that can be shared around the world right now.
Yes.
So I'd like to
Certainly.
go ahead, give us your welcome.
Okay, hello everyone. My name is Sid. And as I was introduced, I am an Indian living in Russia, a university student. And during college years, people, like young people, tend to over-evaluate and overestimate their current issues and problems when in reality they still have not tasted real life problems yet. And stories of people overcoming all of their difficulties, just having these miraculous things happening to them, and just simply showing their raw strength of their characters and how they molded it to that way. And it makes you think that, okay, whatever you're going through right now is nothing compared to what that man went through. And he went through it perfectly all right. So that means that all of us can go through much smaller issues perfectly all right as well. Yeah, so it's amazing, and just from a youth standpoint, it's very inspiring.
I like to just say that we all go through different things. We're all designed differently. And what may be big to me may be small to someone else, and vice versa. Just keep your head up. You never know what you're strong enough to go through until you get through it. I never thought that at the age of 9, losing my father and not having a father figure, that I will overcome that. It was times of going through this with cancer that I didn't know how I was going to overcome this. There's been times that I didn't have money and stuff, and I didn't know how I was going to pay rent. We all go through different trials and tribulations in life. I would always tell anybody, don't let anybody minimize your personal situation, because nobody knows where you are mentally, spiritually, physically, financially. Only you know where you are personally, no matter where you come from. But somebody told me that in every crisis is an opportunity. And if you keep that mindset, you'll always find the opportunity in the crisis, right? It may not be extremely prevalent, but it'll become prevalent at some point. just stay diligent and stay strong in your mind. Our mind is so strong. If we could just learn to overcome in our minds, our bodies will follow. Whatever it may be, an ailment, a mental illness, the physical illness, whatever the problem may be, we have to stay strong mentally. I think that that is the biggest thing that I can give anybody, is just stay strong mentally. Continuously inspire yourself. You have to continuously inspire yourself through and through, regardless of what you may be going through. Find something to be excited about. Find something to be grateful about. Find something to be happy about. And if you continuously do that, you'll find a way to motivate yourself to overcome anything.
Fixin, how you feeling, brother?
Yes, yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, Fixin is in
Oh.
Lugansk Republic, which is
Yeah, Lugansk People's Republic. You always mistake call the Ukraine. No, we're not Ukraine anymore. We Lugansk People's Republic. Yeah, mostly better call us Russia. Okay. You know, in this room, everyone is special. I think it's not. We all here, like, you know, special people, because in 1 month today, I was invited in a second meeting. This called I found my voice, and in Uganda we have the meetings that call authentic voices Africa. So it's you know, it's like Marvel for me. Voice. In this 1 month I hear voices, many voices from Uganda, many voices from United States, from India, and this voice today from this young man is special for us. You know, every day we wake up in the morning and sometimes forget say to the God thanks that we have good health, we have no problems with hands, head, heart. I need to go to work. Oh, my life is so bad because my work is not so good. I have no money for pay something. So we forget about the health, and health today it's important, and we see the coronavirus, and this coronavirus is a great example that it's maybe show us the most special way in this life that health is important. My friend from Khabarovsk city in Russia, he have cancer for stage 2. He now fight with cancer, and when we speak with him, I always surprised how he have forced to smile, because his wife always looking someone in Instagram to collect the money, because it's he need many cash to pay for the medical, and she is not working and he is not working. They have 2 little kids, and one of his kids, the son, have a problem with health too. He's autism. When we speak with him, he never talked to me, yo man, I so tired, or I don't want to live. He always smile. I see he lost the weight, his face not round anymore, only skin and bones, but he always smile. And now about 4 months that he fight with cancer, and I see that he now have more good image, and he start recovery. He start travel, of course his family and friends and people around the world support him, send him the money. We try collect the money for support him, send him every who have some cash, send him. He travel to Moscow, to St. Petersburg, to other cities in Crimea for different doctors. And but what make his special that he never drop his new mark. I show you now. He love hip hop, and he always take this device for scratching, for portablism, and even he traveled in the air ball in the height of 2000s from ground, and he makes the photos in Instagram like he makes the scratch in air balls, and he fly and he smile, make scratch, and he said, "Yo, Frickson, I am not have problems with health. I see many people, good people around me who help me, and I wake up in the morning and thanks God every day for another day of my life. We never know what happened today. I can't talk that tomorrow somebody. Now today we lost the good teacher in our city. She died from coronavirus, but before this day she have no problem with health. She have no cancer, and today we have sad news that she is gone. It's life. But you a great man. I see like your eyes open, you smile, you motivate us to live in this life and have smiles on our faces. Sorry about my English, I'm not so good. Thank you very much. You are a great guy, and I hope you will be continue the motivate people. Your life is really example of how people need be strong and not lose the hope in this life. Thank you very much. God bless, peace you.
Thank you. Thank you.
There you go, brother. You reached the world today, brother, with your story. And that story can be repeated tenfold by every one of us. So we want to thank you for being here. I want to thank Qarlah Prince for.
Yeah, that's what I planned. I do apologize. I was kind of multitasked, but I am still here, and I do appreciate you inviting us to be on the show today. And thank you all so much. Thank you, Godson, for giving your testimony. We do appreciate that as well.
I thank you guys for opening up your platform to allow me to just be able to have a moment to share with any and everybody. We all need inspiration. We all need hope and motivation. You never know what you can give somebody that can just keep them going. And if I could just inspire anybody to keep going, then, you know, my job is fulfilled. This is the journey that the Lord chose for me. And I just want to try to make sure that I do the right thing and make sure that I just continue to serve the Lord and be pleasing unto him, and to all the glory be to him. I don't deserve any glory. I'm just a vessel, guys. That's it. I was just lucky enough to be chosen to overcome. That's it. So it's definitely been an honor to share with you guys this morning. I appreciate you guys taking time out to share your platform with me this morning. I really appreciate it. I'm very thankful and grateful.
Well, they've often heard me say that healing is in 4 dimensions: spiritual, psychological, emotional, and physical. And today, your testimony spoke more about spiritual healing than you did about physical healing.
Mm-hmm.
Because the spirit of your nature didn't allow you to accept the defeat of a debilitating health condition that has destroyed the lives of so many other people.
Mm-hmm.
So the spiritual healing and this is for everybody, spiritual healing is greater than psychological, emotional, and physical healing. Because the spirit is the basis of creation. And when one can heal from the basis of creation, the other healing steps in the 4 dimensions of healing fall into place. And that's what you were speaking about today.
Yes, sir.
Truly inspiration.
You had Qarlah was wiping her tears. I saw her. She was wiping her tears.
Oh yeah, I was. I won't lie. Because I'm proud of him and the way he's handled this entire battle. You have idea. And he and his mom and I, we played Barbie dolls together. We first met at 9 years old. That's my. So, you know, it did something with my heart there. And just to hear the stage 4 cancer, the recovery of it, the whole 9 yards, and how he did it. Yeah, it did move me. It did.
I have to admit, it watered my eyes too.
Yes.
Story.
Yes.
Praise to the Most High.
Yes,
Absolutely.
Especially this month being Cancer Month. And it's amazing. I lost my father and my sister last year, both to cancer. And it just touched me today. It really did.
Absolutely. And with that being said, I'm glad you mentioned that, ma'am, Ms. Henderson. I would be remiss if I didn't tell anybody. As scary as it may sound, let's just take a moment to get checked. The sooner they know about this stuff, the better off they're at. They're better adapted to help us. A fearful mind, or let's just say a lackadaisical. Jesus, I'm drawing a blank again. A relaxed or it could never happen to me mindset. Those are the worst things that we could ever have. I would encourage anybody, just guys, we just go get a cancer screen and just make sure everything is okay, right? It's nothing like just not knowing and not going to get checked. And like I said, if I would have been a little bit more diligent about my health and just getting practical screenings when I should have been, I could have caught this before it was at stage 4. And because I was a little negligent with my health. I'm young and not gonna overcome anything, and it can never happen to me. Now we got to a stage 4 process. But by the grace of God, we've gotten through it. But it doesn't have to be that bad. It doesn't have to get there, right? So let's just do a better job of just getting ourselves checked out, just regularly, just making sure that we stay on top of our health, because it's so imperative. It's so paramount. And when it starts to flee, it just doesn't feel well, right? And so if I could just inspire anybody, just make sure you're getting your regular health checkups. Make sure you're encouraging your family and on top of our health, right? It's just such a big deal. And it's something that sometimes we just put on the back burner. We think because we wake up and we get out of bed and we put our shoes and socks on and going about our way that everything's okay. And sometimes there's things happening that we have no clue about, right? So if I could do anything, I would just like to just encourage anybody and everybody to just continue to make sure we stay on top of our health. It's such an imperative thing.
Amar, can you hear me? Amar, can you hear me?
Yes, what am I here?
Bring up Guerrero de Luz so Kelly can see the project that we have.
Right. Okay, give me a few minutes.
The project you're going to see that's in Brazil is a project that even young people hearing your story can be motivated by. And Ahmad started this project dealing with young children in Brazil who were homeless.
Okay.
And the the root of this project was a project that we had here in the States called Leadership 2000. And when he moved to Brazil, before he even moved to Brazil, he got into capoeira, and he's been in the martial arts all his life. And he went to Brazil in a capoeira tournament and was touched by the lives of these young people that he met living on the streets. And when you see this project, one of the things that the World Media Coalition, I Found My Voice, Jazz Lovers Television Network wants to be able to do is put together a group of us to go to Brazil and to launch this project in other countries as well, with Frixon, who's part of the Universal Zulu Nation, and Sidhant. Sid, where are you located? Are you in Russia or Lugansk People's Republics? Did I say it right, Friction?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, I'm in Russia, Republic of Bashkortostan. It's a part of Russia, like a region inside it.
Right on, right on.
What if we took these kids and these kids and let them in? What if we did that with kids from all over the world? I think we can. What if we took these kids and these kids and let them interact together? What if we did that with kids from all over the world? I think we can make the world a better place. Guerreiros da Luz is an organization that wants to do exactly that. This organization, the idea for this organization started in 1998 when I was asked to represent the United States in a capoeira tournament in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. While I was there, I met a group of 6 kids who were homeless and living on the streets. Once they met me, they were stuck at my side, always asking questions and always happy. This really changed my life. Ever since then, I've dedicated my life to try and make this experience somebody else's experience as well. What we plan to do with Guerreiros da Luz is take kids from New York, LA, Africa, Japan, all over the world, and bring them in small groups of kids to interact with other groups of kids. The headquarters is going to be on Morro de Sao Paulo, Brazil. Morro de Sao Paulo is a little island off the coast of Bahia. It's full of nature, not a whole lot of media influence. It's a great place for kids to be kids, interact with life and each other. This fundraiser is to raise money with your contributions to build the headquarters, the world headquarters on Morro de Sao Paulo. This past summer, we were donated a plot of land on the island that has already been cleared to build this cultural center. Now it's time to take the next step and actually start the building process. We have a team of people that are working with us. We have architects, we have engineers, we have teachers, and if you put all of our experience together working with kids, we have over 60 years of experience. This is a great project. It's a world unity project, and it's something that we can all get together and help and share and do our part to change the planet, to change the world, because the children are the future, and we need to do something to make sure that they have a future to take care of.
Yeah, so that's it. I mean, that's what I do.
As a matter of fact, as soon as this production is over, he's got to go teach a class.
Yeah.
And he's in Brazil right now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So getting ready for class now. Yeah, so that's what we're doing. Had 2 new students today, so it's growing, constantly growing, so we're good.
How many students do you have now?
About 8. 4 kids, 4 adults.
Is that young boy still with you?
Yeah, he is. Now his brother was the new student today, so It's him, his dad, and his brother now training
Beautiful.
together.
Next week, Sid, let's feature you, man, so you can talk about what you're doing in Russia.
In Russia, I'm a student and I'm head of International Club of Ufa State Petroleum Technological University. It's one of the best universities of Russia of petroleum industry. Like you can say it's number 2 in that field. And yeah, so we do a lot of things. Like our university is very blessed to have very active and rich student life. And I personally organize a lot of the stuff, like the backstage stuff, so that students can enjoy whatever they want to enjoy while studying here. So,
Right on. So we're gonna feature you next week, man. You can talk more about
sure.
that and invite some of you people to come in as well. And Miss Prince, Miss Qarlah Prince, don't you disappear. You got to keep coming back and bringing your people. Can you hear me? Qarlah, can you hear me?
Are you speaking to me?
Here's another example of this was supposed to be a
You said yes?
I said, yes, I was speaking to you. I was saying you got to keep coming back. Don't disappear. Bring your people so we can tell more stories. This is our platform.
Absolutely. And one day they'll have me in and I'll give my testimony. I'm a survivor also of the most horrific abuse I consider that one woman could have, and back to back. And so I'll come and I'll give my testimony on surviving that. And my first book is entitled After the Abuse, I'm Still Here, #1 bestseller. And so I'll come and I'll talk about that book, where it came from, the inspiration, the whole 9 yards. And then we can just, expound on that, of what women specifically go through. But then what God had me do was to highlight the men that violated me. And how do I feel about that now? How should you feel about that now? And, how could you go forward in the whole 9 yards? So you let me know. I'll be glad to come back to the show. We can talk about my book. You can go and purchase the book so that we can be on the same page prior to. You just let me know and I will make myself available.
Well, additionally, I read an article today that every day there are 4 women of color killed every day in this country. Every day. So you multiply 4 times 365 days. That's over 1,000 women of color killed every day in this country that you hear nothing about. Nothing about. For the last 3 weeks, you've heard about Gabby Petito and her boyfriend having killed her. You hear nothing about. In France, you hear very little about the Catholic Church over the last 70 years. Abused over 300,000 children. Sexually abused over 300,000 children. You hear almost nothing about the Catholic schools that took indigenous children into the schools and tortured them, forcing them to learn English to be civilized. And they found thousands of children's bodies buried in the Catholic school grounds, not only here in the United States, but in Canada. So it is our voice that the Most High has given us this platform. I found my voice with Van Miller to be able to bring our stories out and share the individual stories that can be inspiration for the next generations and the future generations into the next 1,000 years. I'm Makakuvu Ali El Bey, and this is the World Media Coalition Jazz Lovers Television Network of I Found My Voice. We're gonna close out now because Amar's got a class to teach with his children, and our voice can help bring healing to those who need healing, strength, and encouragement. I greet you, Udama Akayur, Lion of the New Dawn. The lion is our consciousness. The new dawn is the resurrection of our consciousness. Udama Akayur, the vibratory frequency of spiritual liberation.
Peace.